Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. We are on the air. This is Thesis.
3, 2, 1, we are on the air. This is Thesis. Everything is everything. I am your host, Jay Marie. How's it going out there, folks? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us today. Coming to you live from Zombie Land. Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you guys for showing up and hanging out with us today. Hope you find yourself well and healthy and all that good stuff. Thank you for checking in on us today. Well, I wanted to come on here today and talk a little bit about. So last weekend, some friends and I went to a ranch. My buddy rented a ranch for the weekend, so we all went up there to hang out, to go fish and to, just hang out there for a while. I stayed. It was really nice. It was out in where was it? Mineral Wells, past Mineral Wells, which is past Fort Worth out there. That's them in the hill country. It was really nice. It got me thinking, to how it is out there, how people survive out there, in the wilderness, right? In the woods or in the hills or whatever. Of course, there's electricity and stuff like that, but it got me thinking, like, how about way back, when there wasn't electricity, when there wasn't all that stuff, right? So when we go back like 200 years, right, when people lived on the frontier, right, they had their ranches, they had their cattle, their farms or whatever, like, so when we think of the city and then we think of out there, the country, right, or even, it takes time to get to from something like that, where there's a ranch, where there's cattle and farming land. It takes a long time to get from something like that to something like a big city. It takes a long time, a lot of moving parts, lots of people making right choices and making good plans about what's going to go where over time. It's pretty amazing, the views out there in the hills. We were fishing in the Brazos River. Really good. The spot that we had actually had a little peninsula that stuck out into almost the middle of the river, which was really cool. That's the. There's so much that we here in the city don't really know how to do, as far as like survival wise out there, raising chickens or raising cattle, or farming even, like, what do we know out here about any of those things? We don't, but we'll go and enjoy it. But just looking at like, when you remove everything, plumbing, when you remove even the safety of, for instance, 911. You're out there in the country. There's barely any cell signal. I'm sure there's a county sheriff somewhere, but you're on your own out there. Things take time to build. When you think of a city, right? You think of when we go from one thing like a ranch, farmland, to a bustling metropolitan area. That takes a long time. That takes a lot of changes and a lot of moving parts to get from one thing to the other. But same thing like in a business, in a business, there's a lot of moving parts. And if, when you think of someone like Walmart or Sears or something, at one point they were small. They were one store. They had a certain amount of products, a certain amount of contracts, a certain amount of employees. And now when you think they're huge, they got thousands of employees, thousands of stores everywhere. That didn't happen overnight. It took a long time, a lot of moving parts, good decisions by the people in charge. That's to get from their one first little store or whatever to what it is today, multi-billion-dollar corporation. All along that whole time, there could have been some bad decisions made to where it wouldn't be what it is today. A couple employees mess up, a manager, someone high, a CEO, whatever, can make some bad choices and destroy it all. The company that I'm involved with, the company I work with, I've been with them since the beginning. Before we had smartphones, before we had Google Maps and all that, we would have to, do things much differently back then. You know, we had to print out our work orders. We had to route our own routes using the MapScope books, those type of things. And when I had first started, I don't know, it was like 13 years ago, something like that, 14 years ago. I know we might have had like 300 customers, in Dallas Fort Worth, maybe 400 customers, in the entire DFW area. And now in the entire DFW area, we have over 2,000 customers, you know. So it took, 15 years to get to from that first bunch of clients to where we are today. Now we got three different franchises, 20 trucks basically, those type of things. All along the way, all of that could have got messed up by some bad choices, by some bad decisions, by a few bad employees, making the wrong choices, the wrong decisions, can really mess up what has been being built. So as we're building these things, as we're building a business, for instance, it takes a certain character to to steer that vehicle in the right direction. Constantly being on top of everything, every choice, every decision that has to be made along the way. You have to use prudence in who you hire, what kind of vehicles you're going to use, the way you respond, the way you treat your customers and clients. Because if you're a jerk, if you're a jerk boss, if you're a jerk owner, when clients call you and talk to you, and then if you don't know how to communicate with them, then they'll take their business somewhere else. If you have good workers and you don't know how to treat them, then they're gonna take their labor somewhere else. I don't know how many people I've had to fire over the years, so I've taken I've taken part in that, and it's not fun. But when it comes to the business, it's the bottom line is what's important. It's the vision, is where we're going. And if somebody's involved, if somebody's with us who's not doing what's expected of them, then you have to send them on their way. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to build something. Strong. You're trying to fortify it so it'll last a long time. Because this company has been feeding a lot of us for a long time. And we don't want to ruin that because of some workers or somebody who doesn't show up or somebody who has an attitude or whatever. So those type of things have to be considered along the way, and you have to take the right steps when those things occur, when those things come up. Instead, you got to address those things quickly and promptly before they become a problem. Because if you have a vision of where you want to take your company, you want to double your clients, you want to add clientele, you want to expand, you need the right crew, the right people, the right attitude, to get to that place that you want. So along the way, all these companies, any company, any successful company that you see has gone through this already. They've if they are, successful, it's that they've already put in the work. Things take time to get to where they are. Nothing is, there is overnight success sometimes, online or whatever, but that's not the rule. That's the exception. Success, true success takes time. You have to work at it day after day for long, long periods of time, making prudent decisions along the way if you want to be successful. Now, like for instance, what I want to do here is, now since I'm getting healed up from my surgery, and things are gonna start getting a little, the heat here, the temperature here in Texas in the summer is horrible, so nobody does anything outside. But as we're getting close towards the end of the year, I'm gonna start doing more promotions and start getting out there a little bit more, working a little bit harder to expand, not really to expand, but just to get more exposure here. I put out some ads here locally in Oak Cliff, um, to try to get some local exposure, because this is my city. This is the place that I represent. This is where I'm gonna be doing most of my work. Say I don't travel too much, and I'm not planning on going big. We're all we're staying local, but we're gonna affect here. Our neighborhood in my city. That's why I want to stay close. But I'm gonna work hard to expand this, to expand ears, to get more of you out there to listening, because it's just these conversations that we have here. It's the, so it's the same thing in anything that you want to do in life, in your business, in your relationship, in your family. It takes time to build a family. It takes time to build those relationships, este, but if there's attitudes, and if there's angry and there's fighting and all that, then those things get ruined. Those things get messed up because of those. It's the same thing like in the business. You got workers that are messing up. That stuff has to be addressed along the way, or right away, to avoid future problems. It's kind of like um, uh, an injury or something. If you don't address it, if you don't cover your cut, if you don't wash it or whatever, then you leave it alone. It's gonna fester, and stuff can happen. But when you address these things, as the uh, things can get maybe fixed, before they become a harder issue, a bigger problem. One of the things that I like about these little towns when I drive through them is, uh, especially, so we went through Mineral Wells to get to the place we were going to, and the downtown Mineral Wells looks like old school Western downtown, where there's like high noon, meet me on the strip, and two dudes are gonna shoot it out. You know what I'm saying? That the main downtown part looks like that, and it looks really cool because you can see some of the old buildings, some of the old architecture on there, and I really, I really like that personally, the architecture of the old buildings, because it reminds me of that time, of the time when there wasn't, because so when people out started moving out west, right, the frontiersmen, they had these little towns pop up, and then you'd see in the movies, like, they have the little town with the hotel and the sheriff's office, and there's a little strip, you know that was like, when you just think of that little western town, right, the ghost town in the movies or whatever, that little strip of town, those are the strips that you see in these old part of some of these towns. When you drive by the old courthouse or whatever in the small town, that's the exact same spot where, there was a dirt road and horses and people were shooting at each other or whatever in the western frontier days. You know what I'm saying? So think about, you know, how we get from one, to the other, where they just keep adding. So, one thing about, one thing about what we like to try to do here is use our vision, our third eye, to see as the, where you can see the pictures in your mind, right? So when you think of, you're imagining the little western strip town with the little, with the hotel and the whatever, and then as you think, as the years go on, they just keep adding buildings, but then roads in between each one, and it just keeps expanding, year after year, little by little, more and more and more, going outward. 100 years later, you know what I'm saying? Because look, I live in Dallas, right? And Dallas is pretty big. I mean, the DFW area has about 8 million people, the population. There's a lot of people here in the DFW area. But Dallas, 130 years ago was a cow town. 150 years ago was a small cow town. You know, as the, you know, probably at some point looking like that little western, strip with the meet me at high noon type look. You know what I'm saying? but it was a hub, a central hub for the cat, no, the cattle and stuff was in Fort Worth. Something was going to the river. I don't know what they had going on over here, but it brought people, started concentrating people inward here, and then as the years went on or whatever, now we're like big old booming metropolitan area, right? It's kind of like so we go back and we think of all the stuff that we've been over. We jump around a lot here, but when we go back and we start thinking of the discipline, of all the running and the training and the doing the races and whatever it is that we do, that discipline that allows us to focus in on what we're doing, to focus in on what we want to do, where we want to go. We have to work at it day after day. So kind of going back to the long game thing is like, so, I've been running for so long. I don't know, it's been like 10 years now or more, that I finally got to run half marathons, and I Spartan Beast and trifectas and all that stuff. Is like, when I look back at all the work it took for me to get, from barely being able to run one lap around the park to being able to run half a marathon with 30 obstacles. That takes time. That takes a long time and a lot of discipline. And that's one thing that we need to try to remember, is that the discipline is what helps us move forward, because we see a lot of us out here, in the hood or whatever. We see people out here, people struggle. There's a lot of struggling, people, barely making it, barely getting by or whatever. But what I see is opportunity, because we're already at the bottom. We can only go up, we can only go up from where we're at, because we're down here, we've always been down here for the most part, but what stops us is ourselves, because there's successful people out there who's put in the work. They have businesses, they have their stores, they've put in the work. We haven't. If you don't have a business, if you don't have stuff, it's because there's something that we haven't done yet. There's something that you haven't done yet. You haven't done something in our lives. The discipline, the hard work, the motivation, the focus, the directional, thinking of what we want to go. Something's missing. If you want to be a business owner, you're not going to be a business owner by sitting on your butt. It takes time. It takes hard work. Initiative, there's people, they work hard, they build their stores, they build their clientele, they got it all nice, and and they've worked so hard. And then, so what I want to show is that it takes time to build stuff, but it can be so quickly destroyed, right? A bad actor, a bad worker, a CEO, criminals, they could come and ransack your store, steal all your stuff out of the back of your truck, break into your shed where you keep all your tools and take it. It takes time to build, but in an instant, in a minute, real fast, we can destroy these things. And we see it all the time. We see it all the time. We see people, there's a lack of respect for people's property. A lack of respect for other people, period, we've seen, as the, with these riots and all that stuff, if people burning businesses down, those buildings, those businesses belong to somebody. That car lot that they broke all the cars and burned, those cars belong to somebody. Those buildings that are rented, there's a store in there. The store or the little shop or whatever belongs to somebody, but the building belongs to somebody else, maybe even. And along come some people with some gasoline or whatever, catch it on fire. That's how quickly something that took many, many years, Lord knows why, God knows what, because, so many stories or whatever, but examples of stuff that, businesses, things that people built, things that people worked really hard for over the years, to have some people come through there and destroy it all. You know, it's no wonder. It's no wonder the person throwing the rocks through that window. It's no wonder the person throwing the gasoline, the Molotov, whatever. It's no wonder you have nothing. It's no wonder you're angry. You don't respect other people's property. You mad at the world or whatever, and you're gonna take somebody else's hard work away from them, their dreams away from them, because you're a loser. And you allow yourself to be maneuvered. And it's people put in hard work for what they got. Even the CEO, even the billionaire, even whoever, they've put in their work to get to where they're at. You know? So those of us out there who don't understand the hard work, we have nothing to say about those who have already put in the hard work. Right? So if you don't, if you're not there yet and you haven't done the work to get there yet, then you probably shouldn't say anything about the person who has got there. You have no reason to be speaking until you get there. There's a reason why we have what we have, because of those people who came before us have worked really hard to put things in a specific order, where in an order that has been proven, has been tried and proven, that'll give results in the long term. We have plumbing, we have electricity, but why do we have these things? Because good people along the way worked hard to to create that vision, to create that vision of, where we're not going to be hungry because we can store our food in something cool. We have groceries at the store, we have running water, we have sewage. These things that make society a healthier place, a safer place. Those things didn't happen overnight. They didn't happen overnight. You think all these pipes got laid down, these streets, these roads, these freeways, these bridges? That didn't happen overnight. That didn't happen in one day. It happened over 100 years. And, we have this mentality out there, this idea of, people don't like true progress, which is this. People don't, argue against air conditioning. They argue against, fossil fuels or gas or whatever. You know what I'm saying? These things that have gotten us to where we are. We wouldn't be here without fossil fuels. You wouldn't be watching me right now on the YouTube, on your phone or whatever, without oil, without fossil fuels, without somebody digging it out of the ground, without some billionaire with a company that they built or whatever the hell, communication lines, satellites, all of this stuff. None of that would be. We wouldn't have any of that, first and foremost, without fossil fuels, because the ability to light your room while you're writing at night, the ability to cook your food, the ability to, keep your food cold in a refrigerator or refrigeration and all these things, that stuff is important for survival of the people and true progress of society. But again, it didn't happen overnight. Nobody snapped their fingers and there was electricity. Nobody snapped their fingers and there was these millions of miles of wire ran across these grids, cities, in between cities. Just think back in your mind. Think back to a time of horse and buggies. There's no running water. No clean water, for sure. How would they even clean the water that they drink? There was no ice cubes. There was none of that. The ability to move around, the ability to get from one place to another, with the horses back then. Then they made the buggies, and the wheel and all that. That really helped. That really helped move society forward. The craftiness of these carts made out of wheels, woods made out of wheels. It takes a certain mind to be able to come up with that and to be able to um, work that. To build it. Learning to work with your hands is important too because you know not everything. Well, like for instance, so where we come from, we never really had much, so we always had to figure out ways to make do. How to fix stuff when you probably didn't really have the proper things to fix it. Wires and tapes or whatever, building stuff, fixing stuff with a hammer, with a saw. These traits, or not even traits, these little skills of knowing and looking at objects and how they work and being able to break them down and maybe reconstruct them. Those skills will come in handy. You know, in a world of where there's not much, like out there where we were at. Yeah, there was a house, there was everything was there. Of course we had electricity and everything, but when we think back to the time when there wasn't electricity, when it was just a ranch and a house, there was even a little cabin there, an original cabin on the lot itself, property, that was from the 1860s. I mean, like, tiny little cabin, maybe 10 by 10, wood, everything. So with original, those metal stoves, those, they like those, I don't know what they're called, but metal with the tool going up like that. It was one of those. And like when you see it, you're thinking like, dang, somebody lived in here and it's hot. Like for instance, we're summer, hot. So we thinking back at that time, like, dang, homeboy lived here or whatever. Hot, really, really hot. How did people do it, right? What did you what do you do to find, right? There is none. We are so blessed by what we have right now, being able to turn on the AC, inside the house. That is something. But see, again, it took a long time to get to where we are now, of people working hard and following certain steps, following a certain direction, you know. But also, you know, um, making prudent decisions, right? There's a structure. There's a structure to it all. There's a structure to how we behave. There's a structure how we treat each other. There's a structure how we interact with each other along the way, you know, to get to that place. If along the way we were all jerks to each other, if along the way we were all trying to rob from each other, if along the way we didn't have empathy or sympathy for each other, we wouldn't have none of this. We wouldn't have none of this. We'll be like barbarians, just trying to just kill each other for whatever little, you know. And then so we look at society, what we have now. What we have now is a good thing because it took a long time of a lot of work of good people along the way, you know. And then for us to disregard that or to see it as something bad, because of, you know, for whatever reason, you know, if we see that as bad, then we're only hurting ourselves. We're only hurting ourselves in our ability to be able to understand maybe like the process that had to happen to get to get here. Certain behaviors that have been accepted, right, acceptable for such a long time. We might see it as like uh, we see it as when we think of religion, right? It tells you to behave and to act right and to treat each other correctly and all that, and that's good for society, right? Outside of the religious aspect, outside of heaven and outside of all of that, treat each other good, right? Because so we can all get along with each other. But not only that, because this produces something good, something greater in the future when we love each other, when we behave with each other. Now we could look around now look, we could look around society right now, different parts of the nation, different parts of the country at this very moment. Some places are great, they're fine, people working, society is great, everything's moving along, industry, perfect. And then other areas are, man, like third world nations looking, but in our nation, some parts of Detroit, some parts of Philadelphia, some parts of Houston, like what the heck? What are we doing to ourselves? You know what I'm saying? It's no wonder. It's no wonder that these neighborhoods are the way they are. Because you, in those neighborhoods, I'll say we, because, we have failed. If our neighborhood, if people are robbing and killing each other, we have failed. You have failed your children, your aunt, your grandchildren, your nephews, your nieces. You have failed them. I, I see these videos. I follow active self-protection on YouTube. And a lot of these videos that they show come from Houston of people robbing and shooting and killing. It's like a lot on the news. You hear about, how the crime is in Houston, and it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing to ourselves? There's no one else to blame but ourselves. You, in that hood, in those neighborhoods where they're killing each other, where they're robbing each other, where only you are to blame. Only you. And those that are causing, of course, those that are causing the problems, those that are robbing and those gang members, drug dealers, whoever they are, whatever, them too. But you failed your grandchildren. You failed your nieces and nephews. You failed your children. No one to blame. No one to blame. You've washed your hands of responsibility. And there's no wonder that there is pain and suffering in your towns, in your neighborhood. There's no wonder, because you bring it upon yourself. There's no one to blame. No one to blame but us. No one to blame but us. Who we're gonna blame? The white man? You're gonna blame the white man? And you robbing people? You robbing people and you wanna blame the white man? Who told you that? Who told you it was the white man's fault? Because whoever told you it was the white man's fault, you should be blaming them for telling you that. I've been there before, all right? So I can speak about it. I've been there before. I know what it is to be a knucklehead. I know what it is to be a dumbass, to go robbing and stuff, Go back to some of the shows. I talk about what we've done. Not proudly, but I know what it is. So it's not like I'm some outsider coming into your world and saying, oh, who's this guy trying to tell us? Nah, I'm from the hood. I've done all of it too. And I'm here to say, we need to change our ways, because those choices that we make can put us in a cage for the rest of our lives, could put us in the ground. But what are we doing? What are we thinking about? What's important to us, in our communities? What's important to us right now? Some of you out there, fame, fortune, money, gold, shoes, cars, that is not what it's about. And when we start learning that that is not what it's about, that all of that is a bunch of bullshit, then we'll truly be able to break free and start moving forward. We need to be able to speak up, and tell each other, hey man, you're fucking up. You need to stop. We need to be able to tell our friends, hey, stop it. And if we care about them, then we should be able to. And if we don't say anything, then do we really care about them? Or do we have any balls? Because, it takes, some fortitude, internal fortitude, to be able to say certain things to certain people. That's something else that we can work on that takes time too. Look, I'm not a look, I wasn't able to speak long form, long term. I wasn't able to speak like that years ago. It took time for me to formulate my thoughts. It took time for me to learn all these things. It took time for me internally also to humble myself, right? To learn as much as I can about so many different topics and subjects that it'll help me, put all these pieces together. I had to tell myself that I didn't know anything. Therefore, I was going to search and look for, but at the same time, I had to stay on a straight path. All of this can go. This isn't nothing. This show and this is minimal. I don't make money. This is not about money. This is about the conversation and the communication between us. But I want to plant seeds out there to some of you. There's going to be seeds being planted, and they're going to inspire you to get out there and do something. But look, even that, all of this can go away if I make some bad choices. If I make some bad decisions in life, boom, this is gone. Business, boom, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? The more of us that go through life in a orderly fashion, making good choices along the way, the better our society would be. It's clear as day. It's clear as day. Look at any city where Chicago, whatever. Why do these people kill each other? Why are they killing each other? Oh, gang, whatever. Fine. How did they get to that point where folks don't care about each other? Folks don't care about life. How did they get to that point? We can all get to that point. Nihilism, whatever, can get us there when when we're told that we'll never be anything because the color of our skin. If I'm told that I'm never going to be anything because I'm, a person of color or whatever, when they tell me I'm never going to get nowhere and I start believing that, then of course I'm never going to get nowhere. Because they've been telling me that since I was a child, since I was a kid. You ain't going to be nothing because you're black. You ain't going to be nothing because you're Mexican. How is that a way to talk to children? How is that a way to tell somebody, there's no wonder we can't become anything. There's no wonder folks in the hood can't ever do anything. Why? Because we've been told that we can't, and we shouldn't expect anything. You're gonna die. You're a statistic. They used to tell us. You're a statistic. You might make it to 25. You might make it to 21. When you tell kids this, when they hear this along the way, there's no expectation. There's no expectation of life. There's no expectation of living past 20, past 30, having children, buying a home, having property. There's no expectation of that because you've told them that they're never going to be anything because of their color. And what we want to do here is say, no. BS. You can be whatever you want to be, but you have to work for it. It doesn't come easy. You have to work for it, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time. I look at, for instance, Lil Wayne, very successful, right? Wheezy, very successful. He's been doing this since he was 13. He's 40 or whatever. How many years has he worked to get to where he is and never stopped working? That's what success looks like. Success is busting your ass every single day. Every single day. Not having rest. That's success. That's how you're going to get to where you need to go. By working your ass off. Prudently, though. Following a structure of behavior that's been proven. Treating your customers right. Treating your neighbors right. Treating your friends right. Strangers right. Knowing how to speak to strangers. Knowing how to speak to clients. Knowing how to speak to each other. We want to be G's. We want to be all this. Okay, fine. Yeah, we're gangsters. Fine. We're G's. Fine. Now, how do we evolve that into the real world? How do we evolve that into the business world? How do I take that experience and bring it here onto the podcast? How do I take that experience and take it out there into the ministry? How do I take that experience and bring it into my business, into the people that I work with? How do we do it? There is a way to combine all those things, and we'll be able to find those things if we have, if our lives are in a decent order, in a proper order. It would allow us to get there. But as long as we're running around, as long as we're out here thinking, that we're, something bigger than we are, something that we ain't, with our gold chains and with our little car and in the big wheel, the big rims and people, these things that why do we need these things? Who told us that we need big old rims on our truck? Who told us that we need these things to make us feel better, to show status? A brand new truck, a brand new car, a big old gold chain. Who told us that we need these things? Because we don't need these things. Nigga, I shop at the thrift store, nigga. I make a shitload of money. I buy clothes at the thrift store. I buy clothes at the Levine. Like, I don't care about brands. I don't care about expensive whatever. We got to break free from that because, it's just money. Money ain't nothing. It's just money. I don't care. But I'm not going to give $100 for a pair of pants. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to do it. I don't care what label, what brand. I don't care. So we have to break away from these things now. It's just money, but that money can be invested. That money can be used in a different way. You know how much money I've spent on this equipment? And last year I bought 2 computers, microphones, cameras, multi-camera system, all of that because I said, okay, we're gonna do something big. I spent thousands of dollars on that equipment. I rarely use it. Like what I'm using here, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised on what I'm using here, but it works. And I like to keep my stuff simple, so that's fine with me, because I'm mobile. I like to move around, as you can see, I like to move it around a little bit. But it's just money. But instead of spending it on the shoes, instead of spending it on the pants or the chain or the whatever, use it wisely. Put it into the house. Build, plant some grass. Fix the roof. Fix a window. There's stuff that needs to be done in your life, in your home, in your whatever. You could pay off some debt. There's stuff that could be done, that you're putting off because of the new car, because your payment is high, because you need the new shoes, because you need the whatever, the new purse, the women, new purses, whatever. We need to get away from that, from thinking that way, kind of minimize, you know what I'm saying, like minimal, you know what I'm saying, because we don't need all this extra. Like, I have a closet, I have a closet full of clothes that I don't wear. Like, literally, what I wear, it fits like in a little space like this, but there's a whole thing hanging with a whole bunch of clothes that I don't wear no more. Why am I holding on to them? You know what I'm saying? So those type of things, is like those kind of things is that, what we gotta kind of think about too. All right, as we're going along this place, because as we're going, look, life is the same way. Building, your family. If we're stagnant, we're not building. We're not going nowhere. We're just standing still, I guess, right? But when you have children, when you have a home, when you have responsibilities, you can't stay stagnant. You can't stand still when there's stuff and people that depend on you. There's people that depending on you. Your children are depending on you to, to get to work and to pay the bills or whatever. They don't know what the hell has to be done, but they're depending on you. The clients out there are depending on me to make sure that I, service them properly, every week. The clients are depending on our company, on our management, to do things properly so they won't get overcharged, so they won't, you know what I'm saying? When there's responsibility involved, it's like, that kind of keeps us, in order. It kind of keeps us on the straight and narrow path. But we can't let people down. When you accept the responsibility to help people, to build a company, to whatever it is that we're doing, you're taking on that responsibility. You're saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build this. I'm going to work hard towards this. It might take 5 years. It might take 10 years. It might take 15 years, but that's where I want to go over there. I'm going to work hard for that. That takes some responsibility. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. But it takes a good person, a good heart, a good soul along the way. Treating people good along the way, making right choices along the way. It takes time. And it takes a lot of work. Nothing is easy. Building a family, a relationship with your husband, with your wife, that's not easy. That takes work. You have to work at it every single day. A career, building your career, it takes time. It takes time. To get to a position in your business or in your work, it takes time to move yourself up those stages. But you can't move up if you're all rotten in here, if you're angry, whatever, screaming, you can't get along with people, you don't know how to talk, you're whatever. That's going to hinder you from moving those levels up. The anger and the resentment and all that hinders us, stops us from getting to those places. So, going back to thinking of the time from the small frontier to where we are now, it's like it took a lot of work of a lot of good people making good choices, treating each other right. Now, yes, there was gangs and cattle rustlers and whatever. But that was the exception, not the rule. You know what I'm saying? So the more of us that live orderly, the more of us that live properly, the more of us that work hard, the more of us that treat each other good, the more of us that are on this path, that have put ourselves on this path, because, nobody forces you to do this. You have to do it on your own. I had to do this on my own, what we're doing here and everything else that comes with the study and the business and everything. I had to do it on my own. You have to do it on your own. You'll feel a calling. You'll hear a calling. You'll be called towards something, Do good. Build something good. Work hard for your company. Work hard for your family, your children. Fix your house, Buy a ranch, your cattle. Take care of your cattle. All of these things. If you're angry and mad at, man, them damn cattle, I ain't fixing nothing. Okay. Then your house is going to fall down around you. Your cattle's going to die. Your food's going to die. You're going to dwindle away. Fine. Theory of evolution, right? Nimrods will weed themselves out. Some shit. Something like that. But we don't want to be weeded out. You have purpose in life. There's value in you and what you can do. There's something that you do, something that you have inside of you that can bring value to others. And not value in money. Remember, money is fleeting. We don't care about money here. Money's fine, but that's not, But there's value in you. Value to others. Value of something that you can do with your hands. Something that you can think. Something that you can say. The way you treat people. Something that you can do for others. Out there. You have a lot of value inside of you. But you have to know, you have to know that you're valuable. You can't allow people to tell you that you're not valuable. You have to cut those voices out that are, those negative voices, you need to cut them out. Like, don't listen to those negative voices that talk about your skin color, that talk about how you're never going to be nothing, don't listen to them. You, child, in the hood, wherever, in the gutter, whatever. I'm from the gutter. You can be something. You can be successful. If you don't get any help from your parents or whatever, it's going to be hard, fine. But you can still do it. You can still do it on your own. People have survived on their own. People have done it on their own. People have succeeded on their own without the help of their family, without the help of their neighbors, people have done it. There's stories out there. It can be done. You can succeed. You can leave the hood. You can do something good. It breaks my heart seeing young men and women, but it breaks my heart seeing young men day after day, losing their freedoms, losing their lives over some of the dumbest stuff, over gangs and over drugs and over people think they're gonna get rich by robbing somebody. You pull a gun on somebody, you deserve to get shot. Because it's you or them at that point. You know? Who taught you? Who taught you that that was okay? Who told you that that was okay? Nobody told you that was okay. We need to figure it out. We need to figure it out, and we need to start working a little bit harder, amongst ourselves, amongst our family. Like I'm gonna do what I can here, and in my neighborhood and in my community to, raise awareness, to lift people up, to help others. I'm gonna do my part every single day. I'm never gonna stop. This is something that I've dedicated myself to. When we hear about the ministry, this is my ministry. You know what I'm saying? This is my ministry, coming here and talking to you about these things, because I know that some of these ideas are going to be implanted deep in your heart. And at some point, you're going to have an awakening, and you're going to say, damn it, I need to change who I am. I need to change who I've been. I need to fix my life so I can get somewhere good. I want that for you. I want that for all of you out there, because I've been to the bottom. I've been to the darkest parts. I've been down there. And luckily I survived. And I'm here. And I found gold. I found gold down there. And I want to share it with you. I've been to the abyss. I fought the dragon. He was protecting valuables. Something so valuable. And I want to share that with you. And that is what we're doing here. That is what this is all about. All these stories that we talk about, everything that I do in the community, everything that I do here, everything that I say is about that. It's about you. It's about lifting you up. It's about lifting up our people so we can come out of the darkness. So we can stop killing each other. So we can stop hurting each other. So we can stop hurting our families. That's what this is all about. So we could win, so we could succeed. All of us, you, me, our neighbors, everyone around you. Because when you succeed, that's going to spread. And it's going to spread to those closest to you first. And then from there, outward. Takes time though. It takes a long time to build from nothing to something. You want to look at it, like in the city-wise, structurally-wise, whatever. Okay, you can see it in your mind, the picture, the little town, the small town with the dirt roads and everything, the horses, to a big old city like that. Or you look at a person like me. I was a drug addict. I was down. I lost everything on the ground to where I am now. I'm not rich or successful by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm alive and I am making a difference, and I am trying to make a difference in my community willfully. I want to make a difference, and I'm having fun while doing it. I'm surviving. I got money. Everything's great. It took time though. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Almost 15 years now since I met the dragon. You know what I'm saying? But that is what we're doing here, and that is what we're going to continue to do here. That's what it is. That's what this is all about. Okay, that's what I do here. That's why I come to you every often. I was about to say that's why I come to you every week, but nah, nigga, you ain't even been here a couple of weeks. You're right. But that's why I come here, and that's why I do this for you. For all of us, to uplift all of us. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that'll be it for now. And I want to thank you. You know what I did though? I did say last time that I wasn't gonna take too long to come see you guys again. So it's been 2 weeks. So that was good. It's been 2 weeks, so it's good. I'm here. I'm healthy. We had a little slow start, but we got flowing there for a minute. I hope you enjoyed what we had to talk about. Look, just try your best out there, okay? We're all go through different things, but one thing that we can at least, do is try. So we can say that we tried, because if we didn't try, then there's no blaming, there's no excuse, there's no nothing, right? All right, guys. So work hard at it, all right? And and I'm gonna work hard, and I'm gonna be here again soon. So that's all good, nigga. It's all good. All right, guys. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I want to thank you guys for checking in on us today, for showing up and hanging out with us today. I love every minute of it, coming here and talking with you guys. I am gonna work harder. We are pushing. We are doing ads. We are gonna get more exposure this year. So you will be seeing more and more of me. You will be hearing more and more of me as the time goes on. So I want to thank you guys. And in the meantime, I want to say thank you, and I want to ask that you subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. We are on Spotify, is our home base. So we like you to subscribe there, but we are available everywhere else. Please go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe there so you won't miss any of our video content. Also follow us on Facebook. We have a lot of shareable content there. I want to thank you guys for spending time with us today, and just let you know that we're here, and we're doing it. I will be here again. You will hear from me soon again because we are doing it. So you won't have to wait so long before I am healing. So I'm doing good. For those of you who are wondering, I got a little promo video up on our YouTube channel. Represent Oak Cliff. Go over and check it out. I'll put the link in the description. All of our links will be in the description, guys. So you can just go over there and follow us on all of our platforms. I love you guys. I want to thank you for your time. And I want to tell you to stay safe and healthy in the meantime. Stay safe and healthy. And that's it. I will see you guys soon. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Peace out, guys.
This is Thesis.